Hi, my name is Lindsay Palmer, and this is my final video reflection from my first rotation at Sharp Memorial Hospital at the inpatient acute care. And I just first want to say that it ended up exceeding my expectations. I really enjoyed my time there. Overall, it was just a great experience. I really didn't picture myself in a setting like that, but the whole rehab team there, my CI, she was amazing. And just the patient population, the different things that you'll see, um, uh, surgery, post surgeries, different diagnoses, everything. It was all just very interesting, different every day. Yeah, just overall great experience. I really expected the hospital to be a little bit more like intense and a little bit rigid, but I don't know, it was just a really great environment to be in. Yeah, so for those of you who are watching this, because this is your next rotation, I'm very excited for you. I think you're going to really like it. Even if it's not something that you picture yourself in, I think it is just a great place, great thing to experience. And so preparation wise, I would definitely, I think it was, well, first of all, the main thing for me was I had a couple classmates who went to Sharp over the summer, one who was at Sharp Memorial and then another who was at Sharp Grossmont. Prior to even knowing that that's where I was going to get placed, I already heard their stories and their experiences and everything. They really both had great things to say. Yeah. So I already got a little taste from them. And then when I found out that that's where I was getting placed, of course, the one who was at Sharp Memorial, I picked her brain a little bit. And so it was great because I think it's a little nerve-wracking and intimidating for just a first rotation in general. And so after talking to her and just by the time it came around that I was going to be going there, I actually got more excited than I was nervous. So that was really great. And yeah, so specifically for the hospital, I would get caught up on all your acute care stuff, reread your lab book, look at the slides, review your precautions, review red and yellow flags, just the different, symptoms, signs and symptoms, different diagnoses. That was helpful. And then I think as far as a recommendation for when you go, it would just to be adaptable. I feel like I'm really bad actually at figuring out what I'm strong in. But I do think for me, that's one of my biggest strengths is that I am adaptable. So because of my CI's hours and time and stuff like that, I worked under several different CIs when I was there. And so just being adaptable to them, I mean, it was great. I think it just made for a really great overall experience because I did get to work with a couple different people. So I got to see how different how different PTAs, how they interact with patients, how they do their treatments, things that are really important to them versus, what others might focus on a little bit more. So, yeah, I just think that was really cool that I got kind of a well-rounded experience there. But yeah, being adaptable really helped just because if you're very, when you meet your CI and you're very particular about doing things how they do it, if for your next rotation or for, things change and you have to, work with somebody else, then it's really good to, learn from that and sit back and see how they do things and take that all in. So I thought that was that was just important, I felt like. And then challenges for me were, I would go over precautions with patients, but then, once you start walking with them and, you have your CI watching you and you're kind of just checking out everything, you're going down the hall. So you're looking at other people in the hall and you're seeing how they're walking and everything like that. You're kind of all taking it in. It's a little, I wouldn't say overwhelming, but I think you just have a lot going through your mind. And so, there was a particular situation where I was walking with a patient, and and she had had a posterior approach THA. And so, so we had gone over the precautions. I knew them, but then when I told the patient, I was like, okay, we're going to turn around now. When she went to turn, she turned towards the side that she had had the surgery. And so and she kept that foot planted. So her hip went into passive internal rotation. It was fine. It was not a big deal, but it is something I noticed afterwards. And so me and my CI talked about it. And so it's just something that, from then on, whenever I was walking with a patient, I was very mindful of that. So you're going to have a lot of great learning experiences. Patient safety is number one. So you always want to keep that in mind. You want to be looking around and saying, okay, where's the next place I could sit down if I'm, whether we're walking around the bed or we're walking out in the hallway. If this patient was to get unstable, is there a chair to sit by? Is there wheelchair access nearby that I can have my CI go grab something? So just kind of always thinking of that, more so just always keeping the patient safe. Expectations from the facility itself and from your clinical instructor, obviously professionalism, being on time, time management in general, documentation. There's a expectation that you get quicker with your documentation, which I think just comes naturally. It was good to spend the time in the beginning to really get to know the EMR system and know where things got placed, how to word things. In the beginning, I was very lengthy with my assessments and everything like that, but by the end, I got better at just being quicker about it. You're just kind of painting a little story for the next therapist. So you need to have all the important stuff in there, but you'll learn over time that there's certain things that you can leave out. Discharge planning. You do actually have the responsibility to make your recommendations after seeing a patient, and are they safe to go home, or should they have 24/7 care? If they don't have somebody at home to take care of them, they're most likely going to have to go to a SNF, even if it's just for short amount of time. But you get to make that recommendation, and at first that does seem really overwhelming to choose that, because we're taught in the program that it's never really going to be up to us, but it is up to the PT or the MD in the hospital situation to really make that call. But as the PTA who sees this patient and worked with them and kind of knows, are they safe or they not, it is, you're making your recommendations. So that actually kind of becomes pretty cool towards the end, because that somebody's ready or not, so you get to make that you just get to make your recommendation. And let's see. And then I kind of already touched on the setting itself. I really expected the hospital to be a very rigid, very controlled place, but at least at Sharp, it wasn't. It was, you as a PTA, or really just kind of watching my CI and the different PTAs, as a PTA, you really have the freedom to kind of do things your way, as long as you're, like I said, keeping the patient safe and obviously for certain surgeries, you're going to be focused on certain things, different precaution or different conditions, diseases. You're going to be set on a certain thing. And obviously you're following the PT's plan of care. But really it comes down to, you have the freedom to choose, the interventions, kind of what you're doing, what your focus is on. So I thought that was really cool. The whole rehab team there was really great, between all the PTs, PTAs, occupational therapists, speech therapists. It was a really, really great team. They were very supportive and very, all very patient focused, which was just really cool to be around. And then as far as COVID-19, still PTA or SPTAs are not able to see COVID patients. You have to be fitted for a specific N95 mask. So there was a couple situations that came up that, COVID patients were on our schedule for the day, and I just want to be able to go see them. So I would just, be working on documentation or just do whatever when my PTA went to go do that, or my CI would go work with that patient. Overall, great experience. I hope that for those of you who are going there, that this was informational and hopefully a little helpful. And yeah, enjoy it, have fun. And yeah, thanks for listening.